Going live just for a little bit on the breaking news. Been waiting for this to come down. It's not a surprise on this ruling today on a Monday. The Supreme Court playing a little bit of politics in delaying the inevitable. I won't be able to do a full fleshed out conversation here. Maybe I'll do one at later today. But the first initial comments that I have, I'm not talking about this from the standpoint of Donald Trump. I really am grateful that I'm finding myself politically. And even though I do like Donald Trump, support Donald Trump largely speaking, this my goal ain't about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a speck on the map compared as big as he is, as important as he is to this. So I see a lot of people talking it from the standpoint of Donald Trump. Largely, this is good for Donald Trump. That ain't my concern right now. The Supreme Court is not where they need to be. And this is, you probably couldn't ask for a much better Supreme Court than this, believe it or not. So it would be very hard to get one. You would need a run of MAGA because you've got people that are going to be replaced, Alito, Thomas. They're really the only good ones. I mean, Gorsuch is actually not that bad. Amy Coney Barrett is a joke. But taking that into account, this is probably the best you're going to get for quite some time because you're going to have to replace Thomas. You're going to have to replace Alito, much less replacing the liberal ones. That would take a run of dominance of not just a Republican, I mean, most likely more MAGA, America First type Republicans in the office of president. Very unlikely. And I'm very upset with this ruling. It's a terrible ruling. And if you don't know, so let me give you some context real quick. I think I have an article up here just to give a little bit of context of it. The Supreme Court today found, I'm reading this through Reuters, that Donald Trump cannot be prosecuted for any actions that were within his constitutional powers as president, but can for private acts. This is a landmark ruling recognizing for the first time any form of presidential immunity from prosecution. It's a 6-3 ruling written by John Roberts. So let me just highlight the part that I want to get in and out of. This asinine decision, this asinine position that we can parse out the act of a president as either being personal or official makes no sense. Number one, why would you want to do it? Why do we need to do it? There's absolutely no need to do it. That would be something that could naturally be adjudicated if it got to that, to the court system. And for impeachment, which would be the first process, it's irrelevant. You can impeach a president for anything you want. In the verbiage, it says high crimes and misdemeanors. What that means is whatever Congress believes is a high crime misdemeanor. Joe Biden, during the debate, said something to the effect of, that's why no servicemen and women have died under my presidency. That's a lie. Obviously, we know that's a lie. To my knowledge, he hasn't apologized, cleaned it up. YouTubers say one word wrong, they're on the live apologizing for days over it. I haven't seen it. I haven't even seen a correctional statement on it. The reason I bring that up is that is impeachable. That by itself is impeachable. Would it happen? Probably not. Do you want it to happen over that? I would argue it is. It's the commander-in-chief. Commander-in-chief can't correct that people died, they put their lives on the line, and you lie in a debate, and you don't even feel the need to correct it? My point is, that's impeachable. Anything's impeachable. So you don't need to parse out what's official, what's not official. You can go look at any decision that Joe Biden has made. So when he went around, subverted the Supreme Court to cancel student loan debt for certain people, was that an official act or was it a private act, a personal act? What percentage of that act was done to protect his personal legacy, separate from any type of politics or anything like that? How much of that was done because he has the power to do it? Or he doesn't even have the power to do it, in my opinion. But you have the power to do whatever you get away with. He got away with it. That's what they're setting up. The only reason that the court would distinguish between a private and official act is because the court wants to have the power to distinguish between a private and official act. There's no other reason to do it. The process is the people voted for a president. You cannot go after him in the judicial branch unless the vote of the people has been undone. That's the whole point of impeachment. Otherwise, you don't need impeachment. You just go straight to the courts. Why do you have impeachment? And that would apply even if you're out of office. So this doesn't have to do with Trump. Any president, Joe Biden, you want to go after Joe Biden for classified documents or anything, even if he did it while he was vice president, he would have to be impeached first. He has been voted, allegedly, in 2020 has been voted president, period. So you cannot go after him for anything. I don't care what he did. I don't care if he robbed a bank when he was 18. Statute of limitations, but he's done some stuff that might not have statute of limitations. Let's just say that, hypothetically. If he did something when he was 19, I don't care. You can't go after him in judicial process. I'm talking about Joe Biden now. You cannot go after him unless he's impeached. If Obama did something that you want to go after him in the courtroom for, he has to be impeached first. Now, I'm just talking about this from the standpoint of how I would want society, America, to be set up. I think how it is set up now. Right now, we're in war, so you go do whatever you need to do. I'm just talking about just from a philosophy standpoint. Say you separated the country. This country is an original. I'm an original constitutionalist. This is what it looks like. You can't go after any of them. You would have to impeach Obama first. And then after he's impeached, you can go after him for anything. I don't care if the act is official or not. Why would you need to distinguish it? If it was an official act, then the judicial process would not be successful, right? Or maybe it would be successful because people have power in the courts to get these political judges. Either way, that's the way it goes. That's how it's going right now with Trump in the court system. So that's my problem with this ruling. It comes down to that private and official. And the way that they rule it is the courts have to decide. So then you can still go after a president. The process is just longer. So you're still in this place where next election you can go after whoever. You could go after whoever was president in the judicial system, and you go through the process to find out what's official, what's not official. That by itself is mucking up the system. You shouldn't even get to that point if Congress can't put a vote on it. So we are getting to the point where a lot of pressure is coming down on the House. So I do like it from this standpoint. It's a step in the right direction. But this lack of clarity, all that causes is more confusion. And you see online, there's people on the left or the bootlicking side who said, well, Joe Biden can do this horrific act to Donald Trump and call it an official act, and he's immune. And they're right. They have a point. They're absolutely right. That's what you're setting up. Why? Because they understand power. So they're like, oh, you have given us some power. They're like, Joe Biden, you might want to read some of our tweets. They're not going so far as to call for it, but they're kind of wishing and hoping for it. And I think that's what we have to be careful about. And if you like it from the Trump standpoint, I don't have any beef with you on that. I'm just not looking at it from that standpoint. This is where I'll end. Anything I'm looking at is, does it distribute power to as many people as possible? You have a president you want to hold accountable in the judicial system. The process the Supreme Court advocated for is you go to the courts and argue what's official and what's personal. What I'm arguing for is it starts in the House, the voice of the people in D.C. If they don't impeach, and then the Senate, which is further removed but also voice, if they don't remove, then you don't even get involved, court system. Whose path distributes power to people more, mine or theirs?